before we go any further into anything, I want to talk about the OtterlyNoah situation. And there's a channel that I've watched before that covers a lot of the stuff, Internet Versus, and I'm tangentially in like the tiniest of ways adjacent to this, only because I'm running a podcast with Anthony Grimalio, and OtterlyNoah was going to be a guest on that podcast, and then this whole drama happened. So I don't have any history with them outside of them being in my collaboration server for like a nano week. But I want to go ahead and take a look at the Internet Versus video, see what they've said about this whole situation, because holy fucking shit, there's been a lot. There has been a lot that has gone on just wrong in this situation. For those who don't know, OtterlyNoah is a YouTube content creator who started out doing like autistic advocacy and media stuff, and then moved into sort of my sphere, where you'd go and look at like right-wing content creators and dunk on them. But he specifically said that he would go after grifters, which I'm not comfortable doing. And the reason is I can't read a person's mind. I don't have a way to know that they are or are not a grifter. I am never going to be able to tell unless we catch them out doing so. Like Andrew Wilson, I'm probably willing to say is a grifter of some kind, because he lives a lifestyle that is not the thing he preaches. And he's apparently a much nicer person whenever you actually like talk to him, not on a debate stage, but the minute he's got a camera on him, suddenly the personality flips. Like those are levels of like disingenuine that I'm not super thrilled by, and so I might be able to use that word to describe him. Noah is an interesting case, though, so let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on here. There's the little video, and we're gonna play some Halo Wars 2 while we're doing it, so we have something going on in the background, but let's take a listen, let's see what's going on, and then we'll move on to the news, as it were.
A 45k sub movie review and commentary YouTuber OtterlyNoah has gotten into controversy when a video critical of him mysteriously got copyright struck by the artist who made his profile picture after the YouTuber put that art in their thumbnail. And once this came to light, after some back and forth with various commentary YouTubers, OtterlyNoah told them that clearly the artist didn't understand what fair use was, and he worked with the YouTubers to try to get the situation resolved. But then, after getting in contact with the artist, it was revealed that Noah actually encouraged the artist to strike the video himself.
That's the thing that confuses me. So like I got some secondhand about this from Anthony as it was going on, and then I watched some of Anthony's stream on it to get a little more context for what was going on. And it seems like there's this pattern where Noah will say a thing, and then that thing isn't what is meant, or he goes back on it, or he contradicts it later, and it's really weird. So, like, as an example, he was having a hangout on Discord, and one of his viewers was recording it, and he didn't know that, and he said he was going to sue Anthony Grimalio. And then after that, he made a that Discord bit got leaked, and then he made a public announcement on Twitter saying that no, he's not going to be. Sebi says that guy's a piece of shit. What, Anthony Grimalio, the media reviewer? Who are you talking about? Said he's trying to bully Sai. How? You're gonna have to provide some evidence. Are you talking about Sai Scribbles? Are you talking about them? Because I don't think that that's what is going on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like with what happened with Lily Orchard, said, yes, that's the one. Cool. Okay, so have you watched any of the content that Anthony's done on Sai? I have not. I've watched Anthony's Lily Orchard stuff, and the Lily Orchard stuff has been really, really informative, and Lily Orchard responded to it trying to copyright strike, take down, and go after Anthony. Said, yes, and Sai has receipts. Okay, cool. You want to provide those? Said Orchard, the one who abused her sister. I don't know all the details there. But I will say this, Effie. You can say fuck that guy all you want, but that guy is a friend of mine, and I am doing work with that friend. said, go to her YouTube, but yeah, I can dig it up if you so desire. I'm not going to do that. You're the one who's made a claim, so you have the ability to bring receipts. That is what happens. That burden is always going to be on you. It is never going to be on the person you are making a claim to. Not once, not ever, not ever. When you make a claim, it is always going to be on you in your court to support it. That said, let's go ahead and continue.
Bringing it to their attention and giving them instructions on how to do so. And it also wasn't the first time he's done this either. On another note, a few months back, he also got into trouble with the commentary community for plagiarizing videos, being accused by various content creators for stealing scripts, taking clips without credit, and more. But there's lots to get into, so let's just jump in. Welcome to the internet versus OtterlyNoah. It starts when over on our
Sevi says, well, I'm saying if you want to support a guy who's a gigantic piece of shit, but okay. Right, cool. So once again, you've made a claim. This person who I am doing work with is a gigantic piece of shit, and you're very passionate about that claim, and that's completely understandable. However, what you have not done is supported that claim. You've simply said it a bunch of times, emotionally and angrily, and that doesn't help anybody with anything. Ever, ever, ever. I am not familiar with the back and forth you're talking about, so I'm unsure. Said, hell, I can see about getting you in contact with Sai. I don't know if I care enough about that. You've made a claim. I'm just asking you to bring up the receipts. Like, that's all I'm doing, is you've said a thing. I'm just asking you to go grab the evidence of the thing. If you're willing to be so passionate about it, I am willing to hear it out, but you need to, provide something. I'm sorry.
YouTube drama, your local manager posted these screenshots with the caption, YouTuber OtterlyNoah was caught plagiarizing. And it's a Shamu tweet where he says, OtterlyNoah has admitted to plagiarizing me and 3 other YouTubers. He has also apologized for the unproven doxing accusations against me and Nick Andros. Noah should do the right thing and return the ad revenue he made off others' work. It's a post from OtterlyNoah on his YouTube page where he says, today we did a stream discussing how 4 of my videos lifted content from other creators. That being Nick Andros, Shamu, Vincent Paravel, and Narelle. Their content was featured in the videos Anti-Woke Religious Gamers Aren't Unintentionally Hilarious, Shamu's clips from his own expose and his own edits, Disney and OpenAI, The Unholy Marriage, Narrow's own clips of True Lies on 4K, debunking a Jester Bell's abysmal anti-woke take on 2025 movies, Vincent's own wording is very similar to mine at some points, and unraveling Nux Taku's lies about world history and his many controversies, showing Nick Andros screenshots without crediting him specifically for those. I didn't think it was plagiarism until I had a discussion with the British Runner and my fans about my content. I have come to realize that it was plagiarism. I am sorry about this. I am also sorry for claiming Nick Andros and Shamu seemingly doxing my personal information, when it has been proved that they did not leak my information. This was absolutely a mistake on my part. I have owned up to these claims and will do better crediting people in the future in my videos. And the OP continues by saying, OtterlyNoah made a video a while back calling out Tectone. However, a majority of the points he used in the video, from the editing to the structure and even some of the same clips from the original video, made by creator Shamu. Recently he had a debate on the Dicker stream with Nick Andros and has apologized for plagiarizing from 3 different YouTubers. He apparently also claimed that the people who were criticizing him doxed his personal information.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons why, and it's not a major one, mind you, but this is one of the reasons why a lot of YouTubers who are in the same sphere will deliberately not watch each other's content if they have the opportunity to, if they plan on talking about the same thing. Because even if it's not plagiarism, even if it's not that, there is always a chance that when you are listening to a bunch of opinions from a bunch of people you respect, that you will end up grabbing that opinion and sort of through osmosis utilizing that opinion, even if that opinion doesn't have any weight behind it, but you'll still end up using it. You'll still end up regurgitating it. It's not anything necessarily bad. It's just a thing that you really want to avoid when you're a content creator putting things out into the world. If you're putting things out into the world, generally speaking, you want those things to be as original as possible. And if you're like, the least thing you can do is just not watch the content for the thing you are taking care of, because that guarantees you won't plagiarize them because you have no exposure to it. Go ahead and watch the content afterwards, by all means. But, like, doing it beforehand, if you're really worried about that, if you're the kind of person that like regurgitates when you don't mean to, like, that's the thing you do. Just don't. Super easy.
which they did not. And Starpunk Saint replies, how do you live in a post-Somerton world and not know what plagiarism is? Like, this is a guy who sells himself as being this uber critical thinking and media literate critic, and you're going to tell me that he didn't know taking people's work without credit was bad? Come the f on. Also, if he is willing to admit to doing it 4 times, he has undoubtedly did it more than 4 times. And Neo replies, him admitting to removing Shamu's credit when he had no idea you can show editing history in real time in Google Docs was the best part of that whole stream. And Anne E1 Home says, how young does he have to be to not know that feature exists? Indie Credentials says, sells himself as being this uber critical thinking and media literate critic. Is anyone actually buying that? The only videos I've seen were pretty obviously not the highest effort, even if I agreed with what they were saying. It felt way closer to DramaTube than any type of literary analysis. And Starpunk,
to be fair, I think my stuff is like DramaTube adjacent in terms of form and function, because like when you're responding to Thing and you're watching Thing 2 respond to it, like there's layer 1 response video, layer 2 critique video, layer 3 debunking video, layer 4 drama video. I probably have the layers in the wrong order, but like there's definitely a part of this side of YouTube.
Saint replies, if you go to the comment section of his community post, I would argue that most of his vocal fan base does. They are telling him that he did nothing wrong and that not all plagiarism is malicious. And Contizimo says, I refuse to believe that's an...
Doesn't matter if plagiarism is malicious, it's still theft. Like, the thing is, when you're on YouTube and you are taking other people's words, when you're taking their stuff, there's a reason that we actually have, not in YouTube specifically, but like in academia, in literature, in media, there's a reason why copyrights and plagiarism and stuff like that is something that's taken so seriously in that industry. And it's not just like about intellectual property. A lot of times it's because if somebody is doing that, then those are things that are seen as assets. Those ideas are seen as assets in a very, very real sense. When those ideas, when those assets are being taken, like let's say you've got 6,000 subscribers, small YouTubers, been going at it for years, and then you've got a 300,000 subscriber YouTuber, basically guaranteed to always get at least 20 to 50,000 views on basic ass videos, not even like high effort, high volume stuff, just basic shit. That person's guaranteed viewership. So if that person then looks at that smaller channel and starts yanking ideas from that smaller channel and utilizing them and not crediting that person or anything, that 6,000 subscriber channel that has come up with those ideas, made those videos, did what they can to further their career on YouTube, all of that work is basically being siphoned into somebody else's work who's already guaranteed a return on their investment of time and everything. They're guaranteed that. They don't need that idea. And they can give a ton of help and a leg up to a smaller channel if they are willing to point out where they got information or where they got ideas from. If they're not willing to do it, then you just end up with that small channel doing that work and then getting that work poached by a larger creator. And then that larger creator just rolls the die on whether or not they're going to be found out. It's fucking gross.
Adult audience. Neo says, Noah reluctantly admitting to using Kiwi Farms as a source and not crediting the site was also a highlight for me personally. I guess because of the type of content Noah makes, it's more convenient to admit that fact than give credit where credit is due, Lamau. Because something Kiwi Farms bad. Sorry to say, but even Turkey Tom does this right. Also, him trying to get a gotcha on Nicandros because he didn't have a timestamp for the Twitter thread in his video was just sad. This won't end his career because, let's be honest, it's socially unacceptable online to criticize people like Noah in that fashion in that stream. He's small enough and early enough in his YouTube career to get away with this. All he has to do is never bring this up again and upload like nothing happened. His fans are already sweeping and saying, everyone makes mistakes, at least he owned up to it, after doing it 4 times, Lamafau. And stick to pop culture content. All this to say, he's disingenuous, and despite Noah talking so much about everyone involved and going as far to claim they doxed him, which he himself admitted to jumping the gun, beforehand, when push came to shove, he couldn't handle the scrutiny he brought on himself. This dude is a weasel, and it was hilarious watching the cope in real time. Lady Asena also posted in the YouTube drama subreddit a video that OtterlyNoah put on his channel, titled Moving Forward, and captures it by saying OtterlyNoah has issued a response to him plagiarizing. Here's the previous topic, linking the thread we just read, and here is his response, linking the video. The video will be linked in the description, but the poster also summarizes it by saying, he opens with a James Somerton trick of acting like the issue is he did not cite his sources, then goes on to talk
God, fucking James Somerton. Y'all remember the H Bomber Guy video on plagiarism that focused a lot on James Somerton and fucking Tallarico? Just all of the shit that they had stolen over the years from other creatives, and then claimed that it was them all along. It was them all along. So that's a name I haven't heard in ages. Lenara says, yeah, what about him? It's, well, the controversy where Noah's concerned is about plagiarism, and James Somerton is one of the bigger plagiarizers on the planet, so I figured that part was... The what about him was kind of obvious.
About how he is going to return to script-based content rather than outline-based one. Claims he will be using a free plagiarism detector. This next one is very interesting. He is going to be having Anthony Gralugia look over his work going forward. He then actually debunks a few minor things, which he does state does nothing to devalue the legit accusations against him, and then just closes things out, still talking like lack of citation is the big problem. Overall, not the worst response, but not great, and I still don't really trust his future work. Then, as of recently, there is the copyright strike drama. Nicholas...
Okay, so that part right there, that's why I knew Noah at all. Even like, and again, only in passing. Not enough to have an opinion on him outside of, you know, the fucking weird-ass controversies he's got himself involved in. But my exposure was in the middle of this, where Anthony was like, look, I am trying to help this guy out, so I'm going to come to bat for him. And then... Anthony was the one who broached it to me afterwards, like, hey, actually, no, OtterlyNoah has done some stupid shit.
Diorio starts it off by tweeting out, hey, at OtterlyNoah, a small YouTuber named Callisto created a video essay critical of you and it got a copyright strike from what appears to be your artist. Do you know anything about this and can you assist in getting it resolved? And there is this screenshot attached showing that YouTube messaged Callisto saying, hi Callisto, due to a copyright removal request that we received, your video will be taken down from YouTube in 7 days. Anti-woke criticism is fine, debunking OtterlyNoah. And it says at the bottom here, the removal request was issued by Deus Marionette, along with this screenshot attached here. Kino Flex replies, as the person responsible for bringing people's attention to this, I want to clarify that Noah had no knowledge of this and he's not the individual making the claim. And Shamu replies, does Otter not know the art he uses for his video? Once you commission, it would be his, right? I guess they have a different arrangement or something. Dutch replies, his community is terrible for him, but great for onlookers. Attaching this screenshot of a comment by Ryan Bates, who says, I saw Diorio was trying to cash in on it. I personally wouldn't trust him after one of his recent tweets, which is fairly disgusting. And OtterlyNoah then replies, I should block him then. Good plan. OtterlyNoah also responded to Diorio, and Diorio reviewed it on stream and responded back, and here is that clip.
So a small YouTuber named Callisto created a video essay that was critical of OtterlyNoah. It got a copyright strike. This is what a copyright strike looks like, Tectone. And it got a copyright strike from what appears to be your artist. Do you know anything about this, and can you assist in it getting resolved? And in response to this, in response to this,
you can edit that part. You can edit that part.
Delete your tweet? Wait, what? I saw Diorio was trying to cash in on it. I personally wouldn't trust him after one of his recent tweets. I should block him then? What? I'm sorry. Look, I don't care if you blocked me, but this is like a fairly straightforward question. This is like a bizarre encounter. I wrote, hey, is this your artist? Because I'm trying to help this person. Again, I don't care. I don't give a fuck if he blocked me. I just think this is a weird answer. He goes, just for clarification, OtterlyNoah was not the one who copyright claimed Callisto's video, but a separate person who's looking. So that was what I asked. I go, is this your artist? And his response is, another person struck it and it wasn't me. So I wrote, that's why I asked if it was your artist. And then he didn't answer again. And then I wrote, well, this interaction was bizarre. He didn't even feel the need to just type something. He just sent this Kino Flex person's tweet back to me, which didn't answer my question. Why would you even say anything at all? Yeah, that's fun. I don't know. What the f is happening right now?
Then with all the conversation happening now around OtterlyNoah and the copyright allegations, EFAP covered the situation, and Anthony, who was mentioned earlier in one of the Reddit posts, decided to take to Twitter to comment on it. This person is helping OtterlyNoah make videos, and Anthony says, wait, so EFAP has done multiple videos on OtterlyNoah, but only covered me once, despite the stream they did about me getting such good viewership. Fascinating. And Nicholas Diorio quotes him by saying, is it bad to laugh at a plagiarist like OtterlyNoah? How does one improve from blatantly stealing? Real Nicandros pointed this one out, and he attaches a screenshot of this post from Ant's thread, where LK replies to Ant's post about EFAP by saying, to be fair, OtterlyNoah had a huge plagiarism controversy, which is pretty tough to defend. Most creators would have had their career ended by such a controversy, so it's a super easy topic. And Ant replied, agreed. I was around for it. I think the resources I shared helped Noah improve. And Nicholas Duriel then also attaches this clip to the tweet, giving an example of the plagiarism referenced.
But from the website Law Shelf, it specifically states that, quote, for a statement to be considered defamation, it must be about the plaintiff. Even if the statement does not mention him or her by name, it can be actionable on grounds of defamation if a reasonable person would understand the communication as referring to the plaintiff. And seeing as every single person on the internet that knows about this understands that it's being communicated by you, it looks like you're full of shit yet again.
On the website Law Shelf, it states that for a statement to be considered defamation, it must be about the plaintiff. Even if the statement does not mention him or her by name, it can be actionable on grounds of defamation if a reasonable person would understand the communication as referring to the plaintiff. And
this is the whole thing where, like, you can subtweet and vague post, but if you do that, there's always going to be a chance somebody's like, okay, but if we look at the history, we can kind of see who you are and what the fuck you're doing.
Seeing as how every person on the internet that even knew about this situation to begin with knew it because of Tectone, it seems like he can't actually sue her at all for defamation.
Nicholas Diorio also continues posting various replies that Ant left with these screenshots in the caption. I sent him university level courses to prevent him from just ripping people's shit and reposting it with his own voiceover to own the right. Lamau, I guess you guys have less standards than us drama slop.
Okay, that's a stupid fucking post, Nick, and you know that. So if Anthony is coming in and saying, I am giving this person resources so they can improve, I'm trying to help them fix themselves, and then you go, well, I guess you guys have less standards. But how is that the takeaway? How is that the takeaway? I'm not going to say that Nicholas is an idiot, because I don't know enough about him. He's not an Andrew Wilson. He's not a Ben Shapiro. He's not a Matt Walsh. I'm not going to say that. Again, if I do not know enough about a person, I cannot make that judgment call. But holy fucking shit, there are so many ways you could interpret, hey, I am trying to give this guy resources to help out that aren't, I guess your standards suck, Lamau. Like, fucking, God.
And there's a screenshot of Dwarf D. Bard saying, I saw some of it, and they started going off that Otterly was caught plagiarizing people, then something Knives Out too. And Ant says, so stuff that is already old news. And another screenshot of the Wicker Man saying, keep helping your friend from plagiarizing, as apparently he's such a plagiarist addict and can't stop plagiarizing. I'm sure it won't come back to bite you.
Wait, hold on, but that doesn't make any sense either, because if Anthony has said, hey, this person is plagiarizing, that is bad, I am trying to give them resources so they won't plagiarize in the future. Oh, well, keep helping your friend plagiarize. What the... I can't take any of you fuckers seriously. I can't. Nothing makes any sense. None of that makes any sense. None of you have reading comprehension.
And Ant says, I don't plagiarize. I sent him some university level courses on the topic, so hopefully that helps. And LK also came to this thread by Diorio and replies to Diorio by saying, something that particularly didn't sit right with me in my interaction with him on Twitter was his odd insistence that OtterlyNoah's plagiarism was done out of ignorance rather than malice, which is tough to...
Right, because that's the assumption that you need to go with most of the time. So if you assume that everybody around you does things out of malice first, if that is the first thing that you choose, and there are some people who have that standard, and those people I tend to get very frustrated with even when they're in my chat. If your first assumption with everybody is that they are automatically malicious, they are automatically problematic, they are automatically trying to do the worst thing by you and the people around them, if that is your position, then you will have a miserable life. because you will never be able to look at anybody with any measure of nuance. Everybody around you will always be some sort of enemy in the waiting, as opposed to a potential ally, as opposed to a potential friend, as opposed to anything. You give a little grace first, and then if they show that they do not deserve that grace, you revoke it. Oh boy, what the fuck did Ant actually do here? He gave grace to Noah, and then when the time came that Noah was still fucking this shit up, and he found out about it, he revoked it. What more do you want? Or like, this is the problem I have with fucking drama people. Fucking bottom-feeding drama people. I cannot stand this mentality of let us look for a witch to hunt. Let us look for a witch to burn. Let us look for a thing to crucify. This whole, like, just culture of people that began with Leafy is here and Keemstar and then got to where we are right now, every single one of them, troglodytes, all.
To parse given how he plagiarized. And there's more screenshots here where Ant says he made his strives to improve and engage with people criticizing him to demonstrate his actions were out of ignorance and then malice. And LK replies, well, like the other commenter here pointed out, I don't believe his actions were merely ignorant. The plagiarism was just too consistent and blatant.
Right. You cannot believe that, but everybody has different standards of evidence. So you can go, I don't believe that he did it out of ignorance. Okay, cool. That's fine. You don't have to believe that he did something out of ignorance. You don't. You can have a set of standards that is, I automatically assume that this is malice. I have my problems with that, as I've already pointed out, but you can do that. But you can't then hold everybody else around you to your standard, a personal standard you set to yourself. That's not how human communication works. As an example, if you have somebody who's been abused, their standard for tolerance of shitty behavior is either going to be really, really high or really, really low. Either their tolerance is stupidly high because they have not grown as much as a person to stand up for themselves in those abusive situations, and so they will allow the situation to continue, they will allow it to keep going, or they will instead do the inverse, where they go, well, I've seen these red flags before, so I'm going to go ahead and call the spade that looks like a spade because it looks very spadey. Are either of these people wrong? No. One of them is trying to give more chances than are deserved, and the other one is probably giving less chances than are deserved. Neither of these are completely right, neither of these are completely wrong. They are simply different perspectives on a single issue. Same thing here. This is why, like, okay, Ken Ham. There was a debate interview thing that was done with Matt Dillahunty years ago about Ken Ham. And the question was, why do you think Ken Ham grifts the way he does? Something like that. And Matt's response was, I don't have a reason to believe that he doesn't believe the things he says. Now, I was in the camp prior to watching that of going, yeah, Ken Ham's doing this for the money. But then it occurred to me that there are just as many people who will do shitty things for the money and then use their religion as a post hoc rationalization, as there are people who will use it as a carte blanche justification while not believing it. There's plenty of people who put that cart and that horse in different orientations. And until you can get into somebody's brain, you have no real way of figuring that out until they let something slip.
To just be a series of repeating errors instead of being purposeful. I hope he has improved, but that's a tough history. And Ange says, this is all something I discussed with him directly and privately, as well as stuff I discussed publicly as it was happening. I see it as a settled matter, not because I'm defending him, but because I tried to help him do the work necessary to grow beyond it. And LT also attaches this screenshot where Luke Norris says, you understand that in a lot of cases, just citing the original video script that he stole still counts as plagiarism, right? And Ange replies, I am incredibly aware of plagiarism and the many forms it can take. I used to work in academia. I take that very seriously, but I also worked in education, and I recognize when a problem is caused by ignorance rather than calculated malice. Back over to the copyright situation. Over on YouTube Drama, Gift Heck posted this with the caption, OtterlyNoah guided his artists through DMCAing other creators who are critical of him. You may recall that OtterlyNoah was caught up in a plagiarism scandal a few months ago. Since then, his artist has
Ansela says, yeah, if I keep the world with a 10-foot pole length, it's harder to get hurt. Right, and it's harder to make meaningful connections with people. I think that it's always a good idea to take that gamble on people, Because if you don't take that gamble, you will always be disappointed by people. If you take that gamble on people, there is a chance you won't be. The math works out to taking a chance on people. Generally speaking, that's where my calculus goes.
Has been abusing the DMCA system to take down content critical of OtterlyNoah. Initially, OtterlyNoah distanced himself from the whole thing, claiming he was trying to end the beef with 2 creators in particular. Attaching this post from OtterlyNoah where he says, "I'm well aware of the EFAP stream covering Callisto's response to me, but I want to make it clear that their response doesn't change what I have said about ending the beef with both Callisto and KinoFlex. He was sent a copyright claim from someone I know, but I was not responsible for it. I'm working to get it resolved to show that I am not going back on my word, and I'm looking forward to the next stream to finally put all this trauma behind us." And OP continues, "Both creators publicly stated on Twitter/X that OtterlyNoah was not responsible for the claims against them, but now it has come out that he was responsible for it, coaching his artists through the process and then convincing the affected creators he was not responsible and to make statements to that effect. The statements from both are no longer available on their pages, but can be seen on Dicker's stream." He then attaches this link to Dicker's page, where he says, "Here are the DMs where OtterlyNoah coaxes his PFP artist into making the copyright strike." And attached are messages from April 14th, where OtterlyNoah says, "Hey Deus, I wanted to give you a heads up, but apparently an anti-woke channel is using your art in their thumbnail, in a video attacking me specifically, but also..."
This is the kind of thing where you realize that somebody is not genuine, where somebody is disingenuous.
"Also attacking black people." And Deus says, "OMG, what is wrong with people?" And Noah says, "You might want to file a copyright takedown so your art doesn't get accidentally associated with them." "I know, right? It's ridiculous." And Deus says, "Yeah, thanks for letting me know. What's the channel?" And Noah says, "It's named Callisto, I think." And Deus says, "I see it." And Noah says, "I can also walk you through the steps for setting up a copyright takedown if you want. Camelot apparently has had a similar situation before, so she let me know how she did it. Yeah, that first one." And Dickers continues, "Other DMs." And then there's this post by KinoFlex attached, where he's saying, "Noah told the Deus to ignore Callisto's emails despite telling him to email her. What the fuck?" And attached are DMs where Noah is saying, "Perfect. Thanks, Deus. You honestly could have made it an instant strike based on how much they used your material. You were definitely nicer about it than I would have been. Glad it's being..."
You know what's funny? The back and forth criticism on Anthony here, there's a fun part about this, and that's that I recognize a lot of these conversations because he went over them on his stream. Like, I recognize a shit ton of this because he did due diligence and showed where shit was going sideways. Anyway, just fun stuff. Just fun stuff. So honestly could have made an instant strike based on how much they used your material. You were definitely nicer about it. So, like, if I'm a content creator who responds to other people's arguments, I need their argument, the thing that they said in their video, in order to respond. Technically speaking, there are plenty of videos on my channel where I use the entirety of somebody else's video because I am actively responding to the points in the video. The end of their video may be truncated because they don't make any points in the end, or they reiterate their other points or give a TLDR or something. But at least over 80%, majority enough to be considered the entire thing, is used. But it's used because a refutation requires you to listen to the video. It requires you to be able to pay attention to the points they're making.
Dealt with. Heads up, it sounds like Callisto is preparing to email you. I'd just ignore him when it's sent. Not worth the energy. Then back over to the Reddit post, it continues from where we left off. It also comes to light that this is not the first time either, as he has guided another artist to do the same.
Jesus
now we'll look
fucking
at this
Christ.
link here in a moment, but just to continue this current situation, the poster continues. Noah has since left this message on his YouTube page, which also includes his confession that he did walk the artist through DMCA in the videos. And it's Noah saying, "I will be taking a month off YouTube. I want to self-reflect and think about how I want to go about content going forward. I've currently secured a position in the film industry, so I'll be focusing on that for the next month. I feel like most..."
I've secured a position in the film industry, says the person who just got outed for fuck tons of plagiarism. What happens? I'm just curious. What happens when everybody around you finds out the things that you have done in terms of plagiarism and finds out that you were on a character arc, and then instead of committing to the character arc, you decided to continue doing stupid shit? Like, I'm just curious. I'm not saying people should, like, go find OtterlyNoah's employer or do something like that. That's terminally fucking abusive stalker behavior. Don't do that. But I've been on the internet long enough to know that a non-zero amount of people are going to go to that idea. They're going to immediately go, oh, this is the thing that I should be doing. It's the righteous thing to do. Twilight says you get a movie story deal. You go, you find out you've been plagiarizing everything, so you get a deal from PureFlix or some shit.
People know about this now, but for those unaware, Callisto made a video about me, and I disliked it used Deus's art, and I thought she might dislike that as well. I messed up by telling Deus about Callisto's video, giving her the specific information about claiming that video, and also walking her through the process. There's no excuse for all the hurt that's been caused here. If I ever come back to YouTube, I'll likely be sticking strictly to autism and movie-related content. I apologize for everything that's happened and to everyone that's been hurt. And then they do a TLDR, but also attach their thoughts, saying, I don't follow any of these creators. I did subscribe to OtterlyNoah before the plagiarism came out, and had hoped he had changed, learned his lesson. Regardless of the content, abusing the DMCA to silence criticism is a bad move. I think doing this hands those creators ammunition to say he couldn't argue his way out of that, so he had to DMCA my video to silence me. It's Mig Reddit says, I assumed Noah was wise enough to know abusing DMCA to silence your critics is a cardinal sin in the YouTube space. But clearly, I was wrong. And Forward Ad replies, he was wise enough for that. That's why the slime coaxed his artist into filing the strike. He tried to look clean, but he was so stupid that he called for the hit via a DM, which obviously leaked. Then Starpunk Saint replies to the thread by saying, OtterlyNoah's career should have ended when the plagiarism came out. Like, I do not understand the appeal of his content, because all he does is just talk shit on anti-woke morons, which literally anyone can do. But for some dumbass reason, his behavior needs to be overly apologized for, and he somehow deserves a second chance. It is very annoying that a community that overly prides itself on critical thinking and media literacy didn't see a massive red flag when Noah claimed that he didn't know obvious plagiarism was plagiarism.
Okay, again, when somebody says that, you have two options. You can give them grace and hope for the best, and that is a gamble. It is a gamble, 100%. Or you can immediately assume maliciousness every single time. Like, that's your options are binary, grace or malicious practice. Those are where you sit. I, for one, do not want to automatically assume, unless somebody has a pattern of behavior, that they are always malicious. And there are people who have patterns of behavior that can change. Look at Hunter Avalon as an example. To his financial detriment, he moved over to the left because he found that the left was not the series of shit for brains that he had been portraying them as in his content. That actually the people who were shit for brains, turns out, were a lot of the MAGA crowd that were building up in his audience. If nobody on the left had given him the space to actually improve and become a better person, despite years of his content being borderline abusive towards the LGBTQ. Like the amount of times that he made the same video of, I went to a pride parade and harassed these people. The amount of content he made effectively saying women don't deserve the rights to their own bodies. It would be so easy. It would be nightmarishly easy to just look at that and go, yeah, no, never let him have a second chance. Never let him improve as a person. And you know what happens when you do that? You just gift that person to the right wing. You just hand them to the other side, because if one side is not willing to, at the very least, hear their case, then they will always default to the side that can if they lack integrity. And not everybody in the world has the integrity to go, well, I deserve that ostracization, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. If you want people to reform, and this is an issue I have with a lot of the online left, if you want people to reform, you need to give them the space to reform. If you are not willing to give them the space to reform, then what are you expecting they're going to do? Like, they're not going to reform. You're not giving them the opportunity. You're not giving the space. You're just handing them to the people who are going to go, oh, here's a person who knows how to make a YouTube video that gets 100,000 views. We are going to use that person to our advantage. Then you get more Andrew Tates and Joe Rogans and all kinds of shit. You get more of that.
Then Anthony, who we've mentioned a couple times in this video, now shows up on his Reddit account to reply, where he says, for me, it was seeing how he organized his scripts. He showed me and it was genuinely rough. Notes mixed in with ideas he raced to complete. And he expected me to review, he called it proofreading, but it was more a full rewrite, the night before he wanted his vid uploaded. So for a while, I genuinely believed the plagiarism was due to him mixing notes from seeing other responses into his script, him forgetting they weren't his ideas, and just putting a video video out. I sent him resources to better structure his scripts because I figured forcing him to use a real structure would prevent that from happening. However, it's clear all that was a load of nonsense. And Starpunk replies, Jesus, what a lazy-ass bum. And I'm just going to say this, you need to have less patience for content creators, even if they are nominally on your side when it comes to media analysis. I understand you want to give people grace, but Noah wanted to be part of a community that values critical thinking and honesty while actively plagiarizing the work of others. Quite literally, that was only going to end in disaster. And Anthony replies, I try to give people a lot of grace because I know what it feels like to be stumbling into drama. My want to uplift folks usually works out well. Sadly, my trust is sometimes misplaced, and that's the most visible consequence of my actions. Anthony also goes to his community page on YouTube and makes a post.
G Papagayo, this is Halo Wars 2.
Where he says, I have just learned that OtterlyNoah convinced the artist who created his PNG avatar to falsely copyright strike a critic of his. As someone who has been falsely copyright struck, I take this extremely seriously. As someone who tried to help Noah previously because I believed he made mistakes out of ignorance, this actually deeply upsets me. I will be doing my due diligence on this matter to figure out what is actually going on, but I am taking this matter extremely seriously. I had sent Noah footage for a video of his earlier last week, but other than that, I am not going to consider further collaboration or support with Noah, unless evidence comes forward to exonerate him. I will also be sharing this information with my peers. I'm extremely disappointed with—
And this is where I got the information, because true to what he said right here, as soon as the information came out, I got a DM. So like, I can at least say that that part is true. 100%.
his actions and cannot in good faith support this. You cannot be a critic and be unable to take someone criticizing you. I take plagiarism seriously, and thought I had provided resources that could help Noah avoid further controversies. Clearly, my faith was misapplied. And so remember earlier, the Reddit poster said that it is not the first time that Noah has done this, as he guided another artist to do the same. Here is the information on that. Shamu tweets out these posts with the caption, "Not only did OtterlyNoah DMCA videos critical of him, but just a month prior he was directly cited aiding another artist who, coincidentally, copyright struck the gaming Truge in the exact same way." And attached is this post by the Camelot Bard, who said,
And there you have your pattern for behavior. Once you have that pattern, then you go, okay, cool. You don't get grace. You cannot be trusted. And when trust is put in you, it is misplaced and it is abused.
As OtterlyNoah has brought to my attention that someone who I am no longer associated with is using my art. This person, who some know as the Gaming Truge, was thought to be a friend when I made that art. Due to recent actions and him not seemingly wanting to course correct, I have cut ties with him, along with this screenshot showing a removal request, and this screenshot showing that it's from the Camelot Bard. And then Cope and C, the quote tweets Shamu with some more information, with a caption, "Update on the false strike from Camelot shared by Noah. This is Camelot admits Noah came to them about the video. For fuck's sake, he's in the comments of the post supporting the person encouraging Camelot to strike. Bro, either you're sorry or you're not. Stop lying." And there's this post by Camelot talking about the situation, where they say, apparently some people have been harassing a friend, claiming he pressured me into doing a copyright strike on another creator who had made a diss track. I am going to set the record straight. I was notified of my art being used in Truge's thumbnail by Noah. He did not tell me to strike it. At that point, I made a post on Blue Sky about the art being used, which is what he suggested to do. And when I did, a friend of mine came by and told me I could copyright claim the thumbnail after a very short discussion. And I do mean short. And she links this thread between Otter Otterson and herself, along with OtterlyNoah replying, where Otter Otterson says, "That is illegal and can get some serious time if it's more than one piece of art that's been used." And the Camelot replied, "Problem is, I made the art for them. While we didn't have any contract signed, I don't like the fact that they edited it." And Otter Otterson says, "That is considered stolen art still. Even if no contract was made, they took your art and edited it without consent." And OtterlyNoah says, "Thanks, Otter, for helping Camelot out here. I really appreciate it." And back to the post, Camelot continues by saying, "After the discussion, I did my own research on how to proceed, and did so, which resulting in me issuing a copyright strike on the thumbnail of the video. All Noah did was alert me to the thumbnail. What happened afterwards was from my own free will and judgment." And Noah posted this as well on his own community page, but this is now deleted, where he said, "I ended up looking into this a bit more, now that my head is cleared a bit from last night, and it seems that there's currently a false claim going around now about me striking a diss track from a former moderator for the community. This is false." And Camelot explains the situation specifically here. Thank you to her for clearing things up. And then Cope and Seeth continues the thread by saying, saying, Noah is well aware of what he's doing. He tried to pressure another creator to change their thumbnail on this topic and defended Camelot striking the video privately. Also worth noting, he straight up lies about it being a strike in these DMs to downplay what Camelot has done. And for quick context before we read these DMs, Wendigo essentially made a video on the strike that Camelot gave and was questioning whether or not Noah was responsible, along with declaring it as a copyright strike. And Wendigo made content on that, and that is why Noah is reaching out, because that's the content Wendigo made. So it starts with Noah reaching out to Wendigo, and just as a reminder, this is a month before the current copyright strike that happened on Callisto, where Otter is talking about a previous strike that Camelot enacted on someone else. And Noah says, yeah, obviously in terms of the copyright abuse allegations, your stream's thumbnail still has that, Lamau. So especially for that, best for him to clarify up front, along with everything else. And Wendigo says, doesn't it have a question mark? Let me go see. Oh, never mind. You mean like the title above the yellow? If it doesn't have a question mark there, it shoulda, because I was asking the question to watch and find out. And Noah says, yeah, now you see what I mean. And Wendigo says, wait, where's the word abuse? It says copyright strike. And Noah says, well, that's also false then. Camelot did not strike his video. She did claim it and gave him 7 days to change it. And Wendigo says, it's not even saying abuse. I feel like that's a bit far. If it said abuse, then I could see how it would make you upset. But if I get a thumbnail wording wrong when I made it, is that a big deal? I could totally see if it was saying abuse that you'd have a problem with it. And then these first two messages are just copies, but I could also see if I was like a 3K channel and had to pull a Lamau. And Noah says, for me personally, yes, it does matter, especially since the claim from Truge was that I sent Camelot to do that, which was false, and also the claim that there was copyright abuse, which was also false. I get that, but he is specifically linking your stream on his page. And Wendigo says, well, wouldn't you want it to remain as me false? Like, I don't want to hide that I got it wrong. And Noah says, like, rename the stream to something else? And Wendigo says, oh, the title, not the thumbnail? And Noah says, sorry, I'm just having a hard time understanding what you mean. And Wendigo says, I could see that. I mean, if I was wrong calling it a copyright strike, wouldn't I be hiding the evidence I made a mistake instead of leaving the mistake there for criticism? I don't want to look like, oh shit.
No. Okay, so that's one of those things where you can look at what they're doing and then recognize that somebody's incompetent. Like, it is just as easy to go, I'm leaving this up so other people can judge me. It is just as easy to be that guy as it is to be the guy that goes, oh shit, I was supposed to not leave it up? Like, those two people are very similar. Back from getting tacos, what are we covering? OtterlyNoah. Yeah. I wasn't going to talk about it because it's a decently outside of my personal wheelhouse, but, like, it's affecting people around me, so...
Gotta hide it.
Orla, thank you for the cheer.
In the stream itself. And Noah says, yeah, good on you. I appreciate you recognizing that, by the way. It means a lot to me when people do admit they get stuff wrong. And Wendigo says, yeah, if I fuck up, I don't want to hide it. And any criticism I take for it in the future is fair. And Noah says, that actually makes me really happy to hear. That is a quality I tend to look for in people. And another development that happened in this story was this conversation between Wargaming Dad and OtterlyNoah about the copyright strike, where in it, OtterlyNoah seems disconnected from the whole situation, despite speaking to Deus directly. And it starts with Wargaming Dad sending an unrelated message, and then he says, so what's going on with the copyright strike? And Noah replies, it's been resolved. An artist friend of mine copyright struck Callisto apparently out of nowhere. Since she felt him using her art without permission was him using her to promote his ideas, or whatever. Callisto reached out to her, and I did too. It seems she pulled the claim, thankfully. And Dad replies, okay, good. And Noah says, yeah, me and Simon VC'd her too to confirm. And Dad says, cool, cool. Simon says you didn't commission the art used? And Noah replies, no, it was free. So that threw another wrench into it. I didn't pay for it, so she had full ownership over it. And then Wargaming Dad says, do you know when the video first got taken down? And Noah says, that I don't really know, to be honest. I'd have to check with Callisto specifically to figure out the timeline. And Dad says, I reached out to him too. Diorio doesn't show the dates. When did Callisto reach out to you? And Noah says, let me look again. Kino was the one who reached out originally on the 17th, it looks like. And then he attaches these messages from Kino, where it starts with Kino reaching out saying, hey Noah, Callisto received a removal request for using your avatar in his thumbnail and wanted me to reach out to you to see if you know who this Deus Marionette person who sent that copyright claim is and how it can be resolved. The email from YouTube says that it's scheduled to be deleted in 7 days. And then Noah replies, oh shit. Deus Marionette is my PNG artist. She made my PNGs I use in my videos. I'm wondering if she claimed that video if it popped up on her feed. And KinoFlex says, how do you think Callisto can resolve this issue with them? He's planning on sending an email to her. And Noah replies, that would probably be the best option there if I'm being honest. It is ultimately her art, so it's out of my hands. You could talk to her through her email. I know for YouTube copyright claims, assuming they aren't ones where you're struck immediately, you basically have 7 days to remove the content, or you'll get struck, unless you can reach a compromise. It's why currently I actually have a false strike against strikes my channel from an anti-woke AI channel that I guess I pissed off a while back for including the heel vs. babyface remix in a video, Lamau. I don't know if you saw that entire situation, but it was pretty ridiculous, because the AI channel didn't make the remix even. And Otter sends this message to Dad, and then Dad continues by replying, I will say here, this girl is wrong. Even though it's her art, people using that art in a thumbnail to make a video about you does not go against copyright. And Noah says, I agree. I think she does not understand fair use. And Dad says, most don't. I don't like the conclusion, but if all parties are happy, then it's settled. Just know Dickers is going to drop this clip on me. And Noah says, yeah, that's why I sent it to you in advance. And Dad says, what is your relationship going forward? If it was me, I would change PFPs so she doesn't do this again. Thanks. And Noah says, I am planning on that, yeah. And Dad replies, I figured, just doing the investigation thing. Talk about the worst time to do it during the quartering drama. And Noah says, 100%. It seems most reasonable people know what actually happened though. And Dad says, true. One final question. Did you decide to talk to her before or after the Diorio tweet? Is it possible to talk to Deus? And Noah says, I'm streaming right now, hang on. And Dad says, NP, I got her. And Noah says, leave Deus alone, please. This is not helping anything. She just called me. And tell others to leave her alone as well. And Dad says, she is saying you asked her to copyright strike it. Is that true? You need to let me in.
Okay, so this is the thing that I got about this, where Noah goes, no. Don't message her. She's getting overwhelmed right now. And then the real reason is because Noah had actually told people to copyright strike. It is just wild to me that people do not have the understanding that when you tell a lie to a person, all it takes is that person going behind your brain or going behind your thing. G-Pop says, Jesus fucking Christ, how long is this video? 34 minutes. So like most drama videos are half hour to an hour long. Because they try to cover everything or they add fluff. Internet Versus usually just tries to cover everything without too much fluff. So
in this call, bud. Then on Dicker's live stream, these DMs with Wargaming Dad were also being reviewed in front of OtterlyNoah and Callisto. And Leia Sapienti gets a clip from this stream and posts it with the caption, a 45k subscriber YouTube channel, the OtterlyNoah, has manipulated his artist, who created his PNG tuber of an otter in the Disney movie Tron, to copyright strike a 3k subscriber channel, Callisto. All because Callisto made a video criticizing him, and OtterlyNoah thought the video was racist. Noah is also previously known for plagiarizing and stealing content from other commentary creators like Nicandros and Shamu. OtterlyNoah has made this admission of abusing the copyright system on small commentary streamers' stream Dickers. OtterlyNoah has additionally played stupid and asked the 3k sub channel for advice on what to do, when he should have the experience and the know-how on what to do in these situations, as he is the bigger channel. On top of it, when confronted by bigger YouTubers and Nick...
That is one of those things that confuses me. Okay, so I had to go full-time on YouTube way earlier than I wanted to because I got fired from my job at Aldi. Again, for lack of empathy. That was the reason given. Weird situation. But when that happened, I basically had to go full-time on YouTube way faster than I originally intended. My intention was to go full-time at 20,000. I had to go full-time closer to 5,000. Well, actually, decently before 5,000, really. So around that time, I had to learn a lot of stuff really, really fast. But to say that I knew what I was doing the entire time would be a lie. A lot of times, I was just throwing things at the wall and hoping that the right things would stick. That's it. So the 40,000 sub channel or 20,000, whatever Noah's at, asking the 3,000 sub channel, that confuses the fuck out of me. That confuses the shit out of me.
Glistiorio on said copyright strike, and if in fact his artist did strike the channel, OtterlyNoah dodged the question and blocked Nick.
You're the one who doesn't understand fair use, right? I mean, why would you say that? What's the motivation there? Why are you saying that about her?
I don't know.
What the fuck? How? Okay, so... Is this one of those things where Noah deliberately just became inflammatory because he thought that's what the space needed? Is this like chameleonizing in terms of becoming a content creator? Where you just go, oh yeah, no, making claims against people is what we do in this space. That's what I'm going to do with no context added.
What? You're being pressed by Wargaming Dad. I don't want to shit talk the guy, okay? He was on earlier. We've spoken before. He's a nice guy. He gets 5 viewers. And even under that pressure, you're lying to be able to put all the responsibility on her. Why? What's the motivation?
I don't know.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I guess.
Well, what do you think is the right thing to do here?
Well, don't ask Dickers, ask Callisto. He's the person who was wronged here.
Yeah, Callisto, what do you think is the right thing to do here?
Like, oh my god, bro. Like, what do you... I mean, you just need to fess up. You just need to say, I didn't like your video. I hated it for whatever reason. I either am like some sort of YouTuber responsible who didn't understand the section that I thought was actually racist when confronted 2 seconds in realized that it wasn't. And then I just found a BS excuse to try to take down your video, and then I tried to manipulate my artist to do it.
Okay.
So basically, just be honest, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would say yes. I was the one who sent Deus the copyright stuff, the link, all that, and that is how Callisto's video was taken down. And it was, I would say,
sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, yeah, like I wouldn't even say I'd like dislike your video. I think it's just like.
You said it was racist.
You're telling me to delete it, bro.
I dislike your video. I dislike your video.
Okay, so that's the thing where you can't own up to your opinion under scrutiny. That frustrates me. I don't have a huge stream. I don't. It's big compared to some, but it's not that big. And I frequently get put on the spot about a decision I've made, a position I have, etc., and end up having to get in a fight about it. And it is a constant thing. And if you are not able to handle that is a baseline thing you will have to deal with in this space. You don't belong in this space if you can't handle that.
Video, because like the racism, but also I think there's some. Yeah, I dislike your video. I'll dislike your video.
Okay, so you dislike the video, so you want it taken down? Like, what is this?
Then from what I can see, it appears that OtterlyNoah edits the statement we just read a moment ago, and now he adds more information to it, more things. So we'll read it again with new information. It starts off by him saying, "Friendly reminder to my community. I know there are a lot of people critiquing me currently, and while there are some bits of misinformation flying out there amongst legitimate claims, do not harass anyone discussing me. Feels like that should go without saying, but just making it clear. We are better than that. I still made a mistake regardless of anything, and a big one at that. I should not have gone to Deus about Callisto's video, getting her to weaponize YouTube's copyright system, just because of a video I simply disliked. And I messed up grandly as well for flip-flopping afterwards between Wargaming Dad, Kino, and Deus, since I didn't properly take accountability at all for how I'd given that to Deus to begin with. Weaponizing the copyright system to shut down criticism is never acceptable, especially as someone who strives to provide critical analysis of media and others. I have to be able to take criticism myself, and I did not do that here. It was hypocritical and disingenuous. For now, I will be taking some time off YouTube. I want to self-reflect and think about how I want to go about content going forward. I need to be better than this if I want to keep making content that reaches people, and practice what I preach. I want to apologize specifically to Deus for pushing her to do a false strike, to Callisto for striking his video, which was rightfully critical of me, to KinoFlex for lying to him about me putting Deus up to the claim to begin with, to Wargaming Dad for lying to his face, to Shamu for plagiarizing his video on Tectone, to Vincent for plagiarizing his video on Movies and Jesterbell, to Simon for recording him.
You have had to write a book of apologies because you... This is one of the problems with being a fucking shit online, right? You cause problems, and then your choices are accept that you've caused problems and grow, or continue to cause problems in order to cover up the problems that you had a second ago. And if the choice you make is to continue to cause fucking problems, as long as you can, eventually the list of people that you have to apologize to grows just astronomically large. It's insane.
Him in a Discord call, and to Narel for plagiarizing his video discussing AI and James Cameron. I have hurt a lot of people, and there is no changing what I did. I have a job in the film industry now that I hope can allow me to get better at what I do on YouTube as well, if I ever come back. I want to take full accountability and do better. Then some other various friends and associates of OtterlyNoah also got caught in the crossfire, like the Birdman, who KinoFlex tweets out a clip from NekoSurisLIVE's stream. It has been 5 days now, and the Birdman still refuses to address his friend OtterlyNoah manipulating his artist into sending a false DMCA to get a video from Callisto taken down. Why are you sweeping Noah's unethical behavior under the rug, Birdbrain?
Birdman, would you two mind taking this discussion to... Hey, Birdman, why do you want to bury this story? That's kind of whack, isn't it? Do you think it's kind of whack that Birdman wants... Not that I'm trying to keep it in the dark. Oh, really? But I think if you guys are going back and forth on the topic, it might make sense to do it in private that won't be interrupted by my audience. Just a suggestion. Hey, Birdman, it seems like you're fairly aware of what's going on here. Kind of interesting that you're not really chiming in. Ooh. Oh, yeah, okay.
And then KinoFlex quote tweets themselves with an update that the Birdman has now come forward and condemned OtterlyNoah on his Discord server. Noah's biggest collaborator who could offer him any sort of lifeline now is gone. Noah's career as of this moment is a continuous freefall. Rip Bozo. And it's a Discord message where he's saying, at everyone, you are all aware of the unfortunate situation with OtterlyNoah. You might notice he is no longer here, and this is because I have permanently banned him. The issue came to my attention when Gramugula posted a tweet a couple days ago. I had no idea what was going on and reached out to both Ant and Noah to gain some perspective. I spoke with Noah and asked him to tell me what his side of the story was, and that, given the little information I had, that I would take him at his word because I had no reason to distrust him. Granted, I didn't and don't know Noah very well. I literally had to send him a friend request to DM him 3 days ago. My caveat was that if it later comes out that he lied to me, we would have a problem. I watched Eric's video, which proves he lied to me, so we have a problem. To be clear, I strongly condemn the actions taken by OtterlyNoah. I don't agree nor do I support that kind of behavior, period. I was made aware by some people that I, the Birdman, was going to make some kind of defense video for Noah, which is news to me, you know, considering I am the Birdman. That's not the kind of content that I make in the first place. But second, this situation has nothing to do with me, and Noah is a grown-ass man who can speak for himself. I am not the spokesperson of people who go after grifters. Stop looking to me for that reason. This is specifically why I am a lone wolf, and almost never collaborate, because I do not want to have to answer to anyone's actions besides my own. So I am no longer associating with Noah, and that's all I have to say about this topic. And Taylor the Reader replies, I took him at his word because I didn't think he had any reason to lie to me despite not knowing him. What? If you don't know the guy, then why wouldn't you look into it yourself? Especially if you're in the same internet space and are getting asked your opinion about it. And KinoFlex replies, he is 100% backpedaling to minimize that he closely associated with him in the first place. The fact that he's not making a video on this despite his whole shtick being to expose grifters alone shows his credibility is non-existent. And then there is this screenshot of a video by the Birdman where the title is Exposing the Grift. EFAP's comment section is hilarious. And there's a screenshot in here of OtterlyNoah on the first second, along with this screenshot of a comment from OtterlyNoah where he said the tide is changing and the grifters are getting nervous about being called out so frequently. Thanks for keeping up the good fight, and thanks for the shout out as well, Birdman. And a Critical Drinker quote tweets,
Man, this is one of the reasons I don't like calling people grifters all the time, because all it takes is for somebody to actually believe the shit they're saying, and now suddenly you're the one wrong. That's it.
Post by KinoFlex with a gif of Michael Jackson eating popcorn and the caption, watching all these a self-destruct is really quite enjoyable. Then a few days after this whole situation, OtterlyNoah ended up going live on Twitch, and Copenseed tweets out this screenshot with a caption, OtterlyNoah is currently live on Twitch. Mods working overtime, showing a vast majority of the messages in the chat being deleted by a moderator. And Dutch replies, his break lasted about as long as the quartering sobriety. And TLM says, didn't this Dumbo say that he was going to take an extended break from the internet? Looks like he lied about that too.
They never do.
Now nobody can trust him at any of his word. Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Kiko, Salsao, Dakota's Bandito, Captain Crashout, and Dear Boy. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Okay. Well, that's the whole situation. At least it seems to be the whole situation. As much of the situation as we are going to have access to for the time being. My thoughts on this are there's so many ways that you can not plagiarize. Like, it is actually a very easy thing to do. If you don't expose yourself to everybody else's fucking content in your space, you will suddenly find yourself not plagiarizing. Weird. If you don't know something, you can't steal it. And that's just like a baseline. That is the easiest thing you can do. That is the no effort thing to do. There's plenty of other ways you can do it if you're willing to put in some effort, but like, not everybody needs to do that. Sometimes just not being a shit is enough. The weird rubber banding, the back and forth, and everything, there's so much weird shit in regards to this situation. And I'm glad that I dodged a bullet. I am. I'm glad that the Third Space podcast is not going to have an episode featuring OtterlyNoah. Now, I do feel bad for Nyara, because Nyara literally like a couple days before all of this happened had Noah on her stream. Like, it was very, very shortly before this all blew the fuck up. I would feel awful if that were me. Like, that that situation would make me a little nauseous. Like, I'm gonna have this person on, man, look at this person, and then suddenly, a few days later, actually, this is one of the worst people on the internet, good luck. Like, no, that would break me. That would break me, I think. Grant says, I feel like believing that a right-wing influencer can sometimes be a bit of a cope, because it's a bit better to believe they're lying to their followers than to believe in the genuine... What I feel like believing that a right-wing influencer can sometimes be a bit of... You feel like believing that... Grand Chicken, that's not a sentence. That's not a sentence. I'm confused as to what that amalgamation of words means. So one of the worst people is a stretch piece of shit. Yeah. Right. So I'm not meaning that saying that OtterlyNoah is one of the worst people on the internet. Like, Matt Walsh exists. Michael Knowles exists. But I'm saying it's in that vein of going to bat for somebody, advocating for them, getting them on your show, and then them getting exposed immediately as a piece of shit. Like, that would suck. That would suck hard. Nitro says, so will these right-wing viral psychos capitalize? Oh, they already have. They already have. So, here's the thing. Despite the fact that the people to attack in the situation are obviously Noah and his editor, right? The editor should have known better. Noah should have known better. And they decided to be shits and copyright strike people for having opinions on the internet. There's reasons to use the copyright strike system, but having an opinion on the internet is not one of them. Even if it's a shitty opinion, even if it's a harmful opinion, the copyright system is categorically not used for that. That's not what you use it for. So they're the ones who should be getting all that blame. Now, Anthony's worst crime here seems to be, in short, believing that somebody could change. I think that's a fine crime to commit. Honestly. Like, somebody shows their skin and you realize that actually they're not going to change as a person, and that's depressing, but at least you gave them a chance. There's zero chance that they can improve if you don't give them the space to do so. So, he did, he got burned, that sucks. I'm not familiar with a lot of the other people in there. I know Kino was somebody that Noah made a video on, and I didn't watch that video because I didn't have a reason to watch Noah's fucking content. So there's aspects of this that I am not close enough to the drama itself to have opinions on because I don't know the fucking people involved. Grinch says, I feel like believing that a right-wing influencer is a grifter can sometimes be a bit of cope. Oh yeah, no, I have the same opinion. Like, sometimes they are grifters, sometimes they don't believe the shit they say. And sometimes you get somebody that believes that lying for the cause is a virtue. So, like, every now and again, you'll get somebody who's not a grifter, but has every single functional calling card of one solely because they are a piece of shit who are willing to do bad things just to make a point, just to own the libs, whatever the situation may be, right? You gotta go see Cheeky Peach, how's it going? Pernia says did a live stream about this, and he had Noah on a few days before this discussing copyright strike people. Yeah, that was covered in here a little bit. You're about to hop off because you're feeling a tad sleepy. Gotcha. G-Boss says, I wish people would stop. I swear to God, ranting for vengeance is a grifter. He has a 50 IQ. I wish people would stop talking about him for this exact reason. But you just started talking about him in the chat right now. So... checkmate, atheist, get owned, liberal, eat Pop-Tarts, something, I don't know. Something insulting in here. Added in. Anyway, that's that drama there. Okay, I guess we'll take a look at Seffi's video, and then we'll move on to the news stuff that I wanted to cover. This is an hour long. Jesus Christ. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.